Hi, I'm Aaron Modis, and this is my presentation on the articles I'm reading about the Stuart era of rule in England. So the three articles I will go over today are the Gunpowder Plot, Pride's Purge, and the Clarendon Code. So I'll start with the Gunpowder Plot. The Gunpowder Plot was a plot to kill James I of England in Parliament by blowing up the entire basement of Parliament with gunpowder. Hence the name Gunpowder Plot. So it was a pretty ambitious plot, and it was hatched by Robert Catesby along with four others, and the word got out about this plot to kill the king, and Guy Fawkes was caught with all the gunpowder in the basement of Parliament, and then Guy Fawkes, Robert, and all the other conspirators were hanged, quartered, and dragged throughout the city, which was standard punishment for for treason and for traitors of the crown. So that was the Gunpowder Plot, which failed, but it was a very ambitious plot. The second article I will read about is the Pride's Purge. And so Pride was actually a colonel in the English army, and he was tasked with, he was tasked with stopping the new Parliament model army from invading Parliament and holding up the convention that they were having. So Pride stopped over 130 of these soldiers from entering Parliament, and this had a big impact because Parliament was kept going on their session, and they voted to execute the king eventually. And this was the Parliament that really put forward the religious freedoms and made that war in England. So without Pride's Purge and stopping of these 130 soldiers, the king may not have actually ever been executed. There might not be the same religious freedoms that would have been in this time without Pride stopping the militia from entering Parliament. My last article is, here it is, the Clarendon Code, and these were actually four codes that were instituted by the new king after James about religious freedoms and the statutes and what was allowed religiously. So the first act was the Corporation Act, and you can see that, or from what we read, it excluded all nonconformists from public office and made the Anglican Church the prime, or the main church and the legal church of the time. And so the second act was the Book of Common Prayer was the main book used in religious services, and many clergy and other officers were kicked out of clergy and from their rank because they would not use that book. They would use Bible and other texts as their sources for services. But this act of uniformity made the Book of Common Prayers the main and only text used for services. There's also the Convictional Act and 5 Mile Act. These acts made new churches like springing up illegal, and from any nonconformist ministers, people that were not the Angelic Church so people from not the Dominican Church were not allowed to have their own church services, and if you were or if you identified as a nonconformist, you couldn't be within 5 miles of the Anglican Church in the cities that represented them. And so these codes really blocked anything out except for the Anglican Church, so that they were not all different religions under one banner, but it was just the Anglican Church was the prime church of England during this time. So these are my three articles, and I hope you like my presentation.